Good morning. The day is January 20th, 2026. It's about 10:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the record, I'm Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh, the Lord God of heaven and earth. Today's daily briefing, we're going to cover quite a few topics. Before we do that, just want to go through a couple of weekend notes I've made. Me and my Asherah, we do expect better from human marketing. For one, before I go into the marketing, I just want to brag a little bit about her, because we were watching the playoff games and we were watching the Bears and the Rams, and neither her or I influenced the game in any way up towards the end. But then, as right there at the very end, it was like, 10 seconds remaining, and the Bears had the ball. And I asked her, I said, so, essentially, Los Angeles is going to win. Well, there was basically a ref call that, to save you a long story, so there was a ref call earlier in the game that actually would have put the Bears ahead of LA towards the end. So I evened the playing field. Well, first I asked her, I said, do you want to even the playing field? Because that's actually what the outcome would have been without a wrong ruling by the ref, right? So human faultiness kind of thing. So she agreed, I agreed, and so at the last minute I told her, I said, all right, you work with the pass, I will work with the receiver, and we're going to connect it. And it did. Obviously it worked. And then they went into OT. And then in overtime, 17-17, neither her or I influenced it at all. And then obviously it came out with the Rams on top. So it's still the same outcome. But that play was to level the playing field back up a little bit. Because again, the ref made a bad call. And then that's actually what could have changed the outcome of the game. So good job. Rams, at least you won it truly and wholly. So good job. On the football notes, Buffalo should start doing commercials for the dog food brand Blue Buffalo, right? And using little things like that, that's where I think it's beneficial, right? Because if you're a football team and you're literally the Blue Buffaloes, I don't know what your name is, but Buffalo something. Point is, there's a dog food brand out there, right? The Blue Buffalo. Gosh, that would work, right? I don't like any time that, commercials pay actors or pay sports athletes. Like, you're paying people, right? Because you're trying to rely on the population, essentially adoring that person and then buying your product because they do. That's very stupid. And really, humanity should ask for better from their television. Like human beings, you're not puppets. Don't act like it, right? You're letting big companies truly manipulate you, which is it's very maddening to me as your Elohim, because I want free thinking, rational adults. I'm getting there. I'm gonna note that. Because we don't buy Blue Buffalo or anything like that, so it has no benefit to us. I forgot what note I was even going to make. Well, regardless. Because we buy Purina dog chow, and as Blue Buffalo is above our spending weight, that's why we don't get the Blue Buffalo brand. But technically, Purina, I've had my entire, all the dogs I've ever had, I've always had the Purina dog chow, never had an issue. And the dog's lifespans average more than 15 years. I had a dog that lasted 17 years. So I'm saying, Purina, never an issue. I'm sure Blue Buffalo is just as good. But that would work, right? Using a football team because of the brand, it matches. It's like a synchronic thing. The one only other commercial that's even memorable was the one with Matthew McConaughey, and it had it was the Grubhub, I think, because the only part of that was, TV's trying to sell you food, right? And then he goes, I'll prove it to you, and he goes, Jerry, what are you eating? Well, Jerry's last name is Rice, he's eating rice. You see how that works, You see how that works. That is considered like Kodesh. When you have just this random, like, headliner, A-liner, actor, or sports athlete, and then they're trying to, like, just, here's pizza, like, let's act goofy. Like, I think the whole George Kittle, like, I think personally you're making adult men look like pansies. Like, and then a lot of times you're making women look manly. You know, I just think it's disgusting. And before I get into my daily briefing, I want to make a quick thing to Budweiser. There are appropriate times and venues that drinking beer is perfectly appropriate. At football games, right? Backyard cookouts, okay? Pubs. There is in no way a place for a righteous world that alcohol is being advertised in offices. Alcohol contributes negatively to society by alcoholics. Alcoholics have a spiritual malady, and until they find, and included in the big book, until they find the power of Almighty Me, essentially they're uncurable. So you need to be helping society, not helping to break it down, because your alcohol sales are going down. Because what you're actually doing is the subliminal message in the Budweiser commercial of, and Peyton, I'm ashamed of you for participating in that. Because that's no place for a professional. Think of this, right? Why are you advertising it on television? Because if, let's say anyone, right, if they took that as kind of a green light to drink at work, which has already happened. I, as Elohim, know this. I have at least 13 people that have shown up to work just because they were inspired by that commercial, and then they, are causing issues with their boss. I'm saying you're trying to make something look attractive on television when in real life that person could lose their job. And if the person's alcoholic, they could be struggling as it is to not be drinking during the work hour. And then you just gave them more influence to do that. So Budweiser, I shame you. I denounce you. I don't even drink alcohol in any form. I haven't drank a drop of alcohol in going on 5 years. The point I'm making is there are moderate drinkers. And when I say a moderate drinker, that's someone who goes out to dinner, they have one glass, and maybe they don't even finish the glass. I'm saying it's not even top of mind to that kind of person. That's a true moderate drinker. Anytime someone is planning an event to drink, anytime you're trying to breach productivity and you're mixing drugs or alcohol, like, you've not only crossed the line, but now you're a negative influence on society. Media, you have a huge responsibility. Most people in the United States, the majority of them, watch television. That is just an existent thing that I will have to get over. Okay? I'm very sparing on the things in which I do watch. I'm working with Asherah, her too, getting that even cleaned up. But the point I'm making is the Budweiser commercial, drinking in the office, partying in the office, that is an absolute absurdity. You should not be encouraging alcohol in the workplace. Do you understand how much money alcohol contributes negatively in the workplace? I don't have the stat pulled up, but I'm sure our little Google thing, how much does it cost America for workplace alcohol related? Let's take a look. $185 billion annually. So this is no laughing matter, Budweiser. And I suggest that other advertising companies, you need to get with the program. You need to get better marketing. You can be a clever marketer without involving breaking the law, without involving ushering in, again, $185 billion annually. The economic cost of workplace alcohol-related issues in America is significant, amounting to approximately $185 billion annually. This figure reflects the financial burden on society due to healthcare expenses, lost productivity, and social-related issues to alcohol misuse. So again, guys, like, this is a massive issue, and for the media to string it along as something funny, It's irresponsible, and the amount of power that you as the media companies have in your hand is unprecedented. I better start seeing it get cleaner. Because let me tell you something, you can actually not encourage bad behavior and still have good marketing. You can encourage all kinds of thought-provoking things in a positive way, like I mentioned, right, with the Blue Buffalo. I'm trying to get better at this. If I'm gonna chastise, I want to provide an example of the right way to do something. So let's say that the Blue Buffalo brand wanted, a sponsor. I don't know how it works in the back end. My Asherah knows, but I'm saying, right? Blue Buffalo, and then the Buffalo, the team, I think it's New York, right? Saying you could play one to the other if you want to use like the star type of element, right? Jerry Rice eating rice for a food commercial. That works out, right? And even again, I'm not here to judge you on who and what you are, but I'm telling you it needs to be righteous. I'm telling you, including elements of alcohol abuse, especially perceiving it in the workplace as you did, that's dangerous, and that's a massive issue that America has to deal with. $185 billion annually because of a mixed bag of reasons, but it all stems from alcohol. That's an absurdity. That is an absurdity, and there's no place in righteous American society for those absurdities. That's just the case. So, point is, leveling the playing field for not only the teams in that moment and measure, but America. If America and the righteous people are truly going to inherit my creation, it's got to be righteous. And I cannot be tussling with giant media corporations because they're pumping out numbers, because you're all using the skimpy tactics of essentially low morals, low ethics, in trade of big profits and big turnout. At what cost? At number one, the cost of me as your Elohim being profoundly upset with you, more than I'm disappointed in Don Lemon at the moment, because again, I'm going to get there. But shame on you, marketing. You need to do better. There is so many righteous things in the world that can be done and sold in proper righteous ways. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to help me, Elohim, that means God for my new viewers. You're going to help me get my earth cleaned up. Because what's the goal? The goal is that I want every living human being on this planet to feel safe, secure, to be taken care of, and I want them to be able to be experiencers in my creation without fear, without worry, and without being led astray by otherwise benign things, because at the end of the day, they're not benign. Why does it move the needle for you, marketing company? It moves the needle because, again, you're playing on the wrong side of righteous, and that's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. Alright, finish up my football note here. So Kansas City Chiefs, Asher and I have discussed this, and we have determined what we as the Heavenly Family suggest you as an athlete do. On a joke, this has been my joke all year. Right, Asherah likes the Chiefs, but Kelsey, every time we're seeing you, you look like a garden gnome, man. You look like a garden gnome. My personal joke was, if we put a colorful hat on Kelsey, he could be the traveling gnome. Again, another one for your marketing teams, right? If you are obviously doing it with Kelsey's permission, because you would never want to slander someone, and that's not what I'm doing. I was just trying to make a tie-in with Kelsey. You've been an amazing ball player. You looks like you've met the love of your life, as you both, could move on to the future and do something really, really good with not only your money but your clout. I do think it's time for you to move on, right? Marry Taylor Swift. You guys settle down, have some children, and walk out righteously on the creation and do something good to it. But I was just gonna say, right, commercial-wise, who is the traveling gnome? That's Travelocity, right? So you could pair up Travis Kelce, his retirement year, wearing a gnome hat, standing in the field, and they go ask him why. He needs to go on a permanent vacation from the NFL. You know what I mean? You guys could make it cute, but I mean, things like that is where your marketing teams are making six figures on the low end and sometimes more on the high end, and the level that they're able to produce to get brand familiarity is actually astoundingly low vibing, low level. Like, you guys are really marketing to the dregs. We've got to bring society up, the standards of what has been the expectation of human beings from elementary school to the nursing home. I, as God, need to tighten up this gap of righteousness, because right now, that's what I mean. It is absolutely heartbreaking. It is appalling to me. I spend most of my time, unfortunately, frustrated with these things because I don't understand how humanity doesn't see this. I can't fathom how humanity is so easily duped. It irks me that humanity is so far astray, they don't even know what color the sky is. Like, they are so disillusioned by what truth is. Like, I can't even imagine. I mean, I don't imagine I'm God. I can go there. Some of the situations that I'm hearing in church, and people are genuinely questioning their faith because of me. And it's like, how do you not know what's right and what's wrong? How can you not look at a situation that I've explained, that I have taught, terrorists operating in an actual country and getting acknowledged by international community? That's evil, guys. Like, I'm literally bringing out the footnotes of evil. Like, don't have abortions, don't kill my babies, get married before you have sex and have children, right? You want to walk the righteous path, so you get assigned angels, you have assistance from heaven, you have a direct path home to heaven whenever your natural life is over, and then your next one begins. Like, these are all things that you should yearn for. And to be honest, the world is dirty. Everything I'm seeing is dirty. It's dirty by greed, it's dirty by sex, it's dirty by virtue, it's dirty by ethics and moral. You're telling me some of your greatest shows that are winning. That's what I mean. I am almost done with television. I can't stand it anymore. But supposedly one of your most common or popular shows is called Trader. Like, what kind of moral standard is that to Americans when we're having an issue with illegal citizens being protected over American citizens, and then left-wing liberal citizens are now like attacking law-abiding citizens and slandering their job? I mean, that's what I mean, guys. If I were to go on Death Valley Days, which was a TV show back, I don't know when, the 60s maybe, but in Death Valley Days, they cover like the beginnings of America in the early days of California in Death Valley, and they tell true stories. If the world was able to watch that and see the clear lines between good and evil, righteousness and not, and then you were to take that color and hold it to this world, it would be the equivalent of, we're not even on the same damn planet. We're not even on the same planet. And that's what I mean. If people want to question if they're in days, like, guys, it could not progress any further. I don't think the world could get any more raunchy. It could not get any dumber. It could not get any more unrighteous. It doesn't even have a sound understanding of right and wrong. It looks to people like Tim Waltz, the lawbreakers. It looks to people like Renee Good as their heroes because they have been brainwashed. And number one, the root is fucking greed. People are saying, well, I can do well for me and my company as long as I push this leftist agenda. Yeah, you made a lot of money and you also damaged millions, if not millions of people in some shape or form. But you made yours, didn't you? Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. I'll be following that up with a curse because I'm not going to stand for it. All right. Jumping into my next section. Actually, I'm going to take a quick 5 here. I need to use the restroom and tip off coffee. I will be back. Okay, we're back. Asherah is probably going to be off that meeting here soon, so I might jump here quick again, but we'll see. So my next talking point was me and the wife. We were trying to find something good on TV, and again, this has been a struggle. Like, to be honest, we mainly have been just we play Donkey Kong quite a bit as a family. That's what we like to do, along with board games. But we usually watch old sitcoms because there's just nothing on television in this day and age that is just truly, like, not sadistic in one way or another. Like, it promotes lust. I do not like that. It promotes greed. It promotes violence. It promotes lying. It promotes like, that's the narrative with most everything. And if that is what people, if that's what gets people going, like, if humans need to watch sin or ungodly things, like, you need to truly look at yourself in the mirror, and you need to reconcile that you are not acting in accordance with your being, your essence, who you were created to be. You are created in the image of me because you are supposed to be righteous. You're supposed to be right rulers of this creation. You're supposed to be good stewards, not only to yourselves, but to each other. So when you, as a company, are promoting these things, you need to look around you in that boardroom and you need to say, where's our heart at? Where's our head at? Where's our soul at? Because I've made my threats to, the commissioner of the NFL that you guys were going to have big time athletes with big time injuries if you don't change course on Bad Bunny. You have yet to change course, and frankly, I don't want to continue to carry a physical curse to the players because it's not their fault. You see, it's their fault for participating in such ads, such as Peyton did, and others. And I'm not going to act at this moment because I want people to have an opportunity to truly take what I'm telling you and to make a change. So I'm giving you a heads up. Please make changes. Because if I need to flip that internally to the National Football League's commission, the American Football Leagues are an American family entertainment sport. It is watched and it is adored by millions of Americans and children, a lot of children. When I am watching football and I am seeing 9 and 10-year-olds with their shirt off in freezing temperatures, their parents need to be shamed. An adult needs to come over there and tap that father on his shoulder and say, you need to get your son properly clothed, number one. Number two, he's probably a drunk, which is probably why he doesn't care. He's probably a drunk because the media has influenced him since he was a child that drinking is cool, and yet multiple DUIs, multiple problems that he's incurred with it, he's constantly met at the door because of the normalization of sin. It is not okay in my eyes. So again, I encourage you, doesn't matter if you're the highest or if you're the lowest, you need to self-inventory and figure out where is your soul. If you are creating media and you are inputting with the sexual desire, you're putting lies and mistrust, like, that's what I mean. I almost hesitate to turn on the television anymore because all I get, it's literally, and I mean, Asherah knows because I completely rant about this ongoingly, that if you turn on most news outlets, it is justifying the wicked left-wing liberal psychopaths. It is literally their entire job is justification for their bad behavior. And that is the equivalent of me as father and Cameron's doing naughties, and then every time I catch him in a naughty, he's justifying it to me. Well, Dad, I wouldn't have, snuck out and done this if you didn't. Like, no. That's not how this works. The rules are rules, laws are laws. That's where we start. That's where we start. They are not objectionable. They are not, they only apply here. No, illegal aliens are in this country illegally, even if that is their only sin, even if that is their only law break, that is still a law break. And it has a direct impact on American families who are and in need of assistance, mainly in the financial sector, in the housing sector. One of my goals here, and that's what I mean, if the liberal protesters would wake up, smell the roses, and find God, me, they would start to realize that, you know what? All these problems from the lowest to the highest, I am going to solve. I am solving them every single day, every hour. If I am having to stomach what the world is currently, just so I can find the root, identify the root, and then give the world direction on how to cure it. This is, as I've been saying, right? This is Iran's baby to birth for the toppling of a tyrannical government, but this is humanity's baby to birth. You guys are going to have to learn righteousness to continue to live. That's my last ultimatum, and that's where we're going to stand in the final circle here going forward. If you are refusing righteousness, if you're refusing to listen to what I say, and it doesn't matter if nobody listens to this, right? As the law would say, right? Ignorance isn't a defense. So to my point, right? If my churches want to keep me veiled and you want to keep me covered, then you're only going to do your entire earth a disservice, because when I am laying it out there, such as I am for media, commercials, the National Football League, like all these things, I'm giving you heads ups, because if you do not change your ways, I will pour my vengeance out upon thee. I will, and I will get wrathful. I will not do it on camera. I will do it in the confines of my heavenly throne, and whatever temper tantrum follows is my business. But understand that Earth is the recipient of that, and my target are going to be what I've covered. Clean it up. There is no excuses in the world why I should not be able to find a sound family show that doesn't involve cheating, it doesn't involve lying, it doesn't involve murder, it doesn't involve embezzlement, it doesn't involve fraud, it doesn't involve like 99% of what's available on television. Again, if you need to watch that to hold your attention, then you need to do some soul searching. Because if you are having to watch that for satisfaction or entertainment, then I can tell you right now, your soul is not under the care and concern of me, your Lord God. And it needs to be. Like, it really needs to be, guys. Okay. So we did find one. It was about October 7th. It's called Red Alert. I have not done watching it. I've only been able to get through 2 episodes, and they are graphic. They are very rough, and it's even more rough for me because I can go into spirit, and I can actually see, hear, smell, taste situations that not the portrayed actors like experienced, but the real life people that this happened to. I can actually go back and first-handedly essentially experience it, and it's very terrifying. It's something that truly, if it happened on American soil, because 9/11 was a massive tragedy, but even 9/11 was not as traumatic as October 7th is, because October 7th involved, I mean, you gotta watch Red Alert. I'll just say that. And if you still walk away with the conclusion of freeing Palestine and siding with jihad or siding with terrorists, then you need to understand something. You are a direct enemy of me, Yahweh Elohim, the Christian God, the God of Judaism. I am the God of the Jews, and I am the God of the Christians. My name is Yahweh Elohim. I am Yahuwah, Joshua. I am the incarnate God. I am Christ. If that is a difficult pill for you to swallow, that's fine. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Then I suggest you find a peaceful religion to practice. Or if you do not want to practice any religion, that's fine. But you better be good. You better be good. You better not be peddling sin to my human beings. You better not be peddling propaganda that is going to turn them in favor of sin, in favor of moral decay, in favor of wrong ethic understandings. Like, I mean, these are very right and wrong, good and evil type of things, and I'm here to tell you, I am going to gut evil in every sector of every part of the world. So sweareth I, saith the Lord God of heaven and earth. That is a fact. So watch Red Alert. It definitely does well for perspective. Asherah and I, we paused it several times because it was very, very intense, and it's not stuff we usually watch. So even in a part of the episode, Cameron was getting settled down. He got out of his tub and he was laying down, and then he comes out and he was like, "What are you watching?" He's like, "I can hear that all the way in my room, and it's like freaking me out, Dad." And I'm like, "Okay, like we'll turn it down," and we moved to the room. But I'm just saying, like, that was intense as a viewer. I want people who are going to watch it to understand what that was like, dealing with it for real. Like, terrifying doesn't begin to even explain what that is like. And understand that it isn't that Hamas is some military wing. They have been homegrown in Tehran, Iran. Understand this. It is not the Iranian people that are evil. It is not the land of Iran that is evil. That's a beautiful land. It is the jihadist movement that began back in the 60s and the 50s. This movement came because they, much like other, different groups, they felt that they were going to usher in their end times return of the Prophet Muhammad, who, to be honest, if he existed, he didn't exist for my kingdom, and he was not a prophet of mine, Yahweh. So that's like a fugazi, basically. And that somehow killing the Jews or killing American Christians, like, that's wicked and evil. There is no religion that killing anybody is ever going to stand on this creation. That's a fact. Sweareth I, saith the Lord God Almighty. January 20th to 26th, beginning now, going forward, I'm laying the full arm of me, God, upon all of those who are working wicked and evil, especially murderers. October 7th was nothing short of a mass murder, and it is an absolute shame. It is an absolute shame that the international community has still yet to mobilize in favor of Israel, and that the international community, like the European Union or whatever the hell you guys are, the United Nations, like, you're letting open murderers, you're treating them like delegates, but in reality they're not. They are murderers. As God, I will direct that evil to be worked upon those that are protecting it. If you are protecting illegals, I will flip the curse to you, and you will thus be handled by the very evil in which you're protecting. Sweareth I, saith the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh Elohim. If you are if you are a living, breathing human being, and you are facilitating wicked and evil, murder, if you're facilitating these acts of terrorism, if you're facilitating the overthrowing of the United States of America, you are evil in my eyes, and that is all that matters. I am teaching you the rules based on the 10 Commandments and my preferences as God. My preferences matter because this is my creation. Therefore, if you are a living, breathing human being on this plane, that means you're a renter. I kick renters out when they are not obeying the rules. And thus, you will not have an afterlife. You will not have a purpose given to you. You will be recycled into the next creation and wiped, and therefore you won't even realize that you've done this before. Or if your archetype is too badly distorted, meaning I could never teach it, right? You are just inherently now evil. You are mixed with demon blood, spiritually or physical, either one, then you are a case for the abyss. So, take it and apply it. But, alright. Let me check with Asherah, see where she's at, as I think she has a meeting coming up, so she has a very small break. I will catch back with you in like 5. Alright, get back here. So, next up on our docket is the church intrusion. I want to start this off by saying I am more than disappointed in people in general, in human beings. I don't give a crap what party you're from. I don't even care at how poisoned you are by the left-wing radicals of the American continent, the American country. But I just want to say, as a human being, I'm very ashamed of you. Don Lemon by name, you know. Patrons, Christians and Jews, you know, number one, do not go after each other, because if you do, if Christians in any shape or form go after Jews, I denounce you. You are not in my will. You are not in my heaven. You will never be, ever be called by me unto heaven. If you are a Christian assaulting a Jew or a Jew assaulting a Christian, both of you need to knock that out. 1, 2. Any riot, protests, if you are not coming to my house to praise, honor, and worship my name, then you are a domestic terrorist. I suggest my churches, Christian and synagogue, need to, I hate to say this, but if your state allows it, you need to be concealed carrying, because it is an absolute, it's appalling that people in a peaceful place to worship, to find their center for the week, to connect with me, Almighty God, and yet they are dealing with nonsense of people intruding in on a church service because they are unhappy that the Democrats are losing the majority of their voting base, which are illegal immigrants. Like, wake up and smell the coffee. The only people that are out here even doing this nonsense are either brainwashed by Democrats, paid by George Soros, who's a Democrat, or they are truly demonic in spirit or blood, and they don't have any understanding of natural righteousness. See, natural righteousness is you don't kill babies. Natural righteousness means that you obey God's word. Natural righteousness means that you don't steal, you don't murder. Natural righteousness knows that you only worship the one true God who created you, the earth, and the heavens. Natural righteousness is a goodness. You're good-natured. A good-natured person would never come into a house, my house, and do what you did. You scared my children. And when I say my children, all humans on planet Earth are truly my children. But then there are children, the babies. You protesters, you rioters, you domestic terrorists, if you ever come into my house again, you better prepare to meet me, because then I am going to submit you down to hell. Because I'm encouraging my churches and synagogues, if you have a concealed carry permit in a state, you are allowed to carry it in my house. You protect my flocks. You protect those children. Those children are precious to me. But so are those that are in the pews. Whether or not you understand me fully, you at least have half a brain to be at church. At church or at synagogue. That is already a huge step towards me that over half the world hasn't made, and they're not. That's why over half the world is going to be dealt with. And of course, churches, synagogues, you know, I encourage you, call on my name, Yahweh, YHWH. Either one will do. Call on my name, and I will push the swine over the cliff. Sweareth I, saith your Lord God, Yahweh Elohim, who is I. A couple of verses for my churchgoers, because this is probably not going to stop here. This is probably going to get worse. Guard the door. You make sure the parking lot attendees, if you want direct instruction, I would have congregation members that are ex-veterans, especially those that are from the Iraqi wars, Iraqi Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Those guys, they understand what terrorists are, because they were overseas like me. They would know exactly what it looks like, what it smells like, and they're going to hold the door. So have your veterans out there doing parking. Have another veteran at the door while pastor and while pastor and rabbis, whatever combination I'm saying, while they should be at the door greeting everyone in for the day, there should be a veteran of some type or an active duty officer. I'm saying put people that are trained with weapons and are disciplined to not get shaky, because you don't want any accidents. But what you do want is you want someone who is steadfast, who's well experienced. They're not overzealous, because I'm definitely not saying that if you get an intrusion on the property that you start shooting. No. But you make it very clear they are to exit the premises. They are not there for a purpose by me or our church as a team, saying, we don't want that there. That's my house. That's my house. And that is absolutely not going to stand. So, call on my name. And truly, Romans 12:19, beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of me, Elohim, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith I, Yahweh. And I want my churches to say Psalms 91:2, I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, he is my God in whom I trust. A famous one a lot of you know, and my daughter wears this shirt too. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of me, God, your Lord, Yahweh, and your vindication from me, declares I, the Lord. Deuteronomy 32:35, it is mine to avenge, I will repay. In due time their foot will slip, their day of disaster is near, and their doom rushes upon them. And last one, Psalms 34:7, the angel of Yahweh encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. I am he. So, point in that is, every single injustice that's done to my people, I will take my vengeance and my wrath out upon thee. So sweareth I, saith Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. That is a swear. I will not stand for that, because I have good children that are learning in these churches and in these synagogues. And again, Christians and Jews, you both have the same God. You have the same Elohim. And here's another news flash. Even Muslims, right? The offspring of Ishmael, they also are supposed to serve me, Yahweh Elohim. There is no Allah. There is no history in the God domain of an Allah. I did not make one. I've been over many times the gods that are real, gods that are dead or they don't interact with the world anymore, but no matter what, don't go and worship demons, A. And if it causes you to work murder, then you know you're in a demonic cult, right? My people, we protect, we defend. We only hit offense when provoked. And again, October 7th, way more than provoked. And that's what I'm sick and tired of in the international community. You know, you have Hamas terrorists, just active terrorists, and then they're carting televisions, they're carting jewelry and gold away from the homes that they just mass murdered families. Unarmed families. Then kidnapped them and kept them there for years. And yet the international community is still debating how much food and effing water we're giving. Guys, when you mess with one of my people, Jew or Christian, you're messing with me, the Almighty Creator. I will completely I will save my wrath for action. I will take a 5 and I will calm down and reset, because I do not want to derail a briefing with my anger. Okay, we're back. Well, she is just swamped today, so I don't know if we're gonna catch each other here. So keep going, but my final thought on not my final thought, but at least for the record, I believe that the church invasion, all of those people need to be not only held accountable, but they need to be made an example of, that you do not intrude on good God-fearing church-going people. Our country, our world needs more of those people and less of those rioters. So take it as a warning, take it as a promise. I am the Lord, and my vengeance will be poured out upon thee. You're going to learn to never come into my home unless you are there to praise, honor, and worship my name. Period. So, point is, next, yeah, they need to be persecuted by the full extent of the law. Because if they're not, and there's not justice, I will make sure there is justice. And I think we know what that means. So, Minnesota fraud, we got to keep going down that road. We got to keep exposing the fraud, and that's going to go to, again, every single state in the union. Any state that is abiding by my commandments, they're going to be the states that welcome ICE agents. Get all the illegals out. Doesn't matter if it's Florida, Texas, New York, doesn't matter. Washington, California, all the states are equal in that regard, that they need a complete house cleaning. Then and only then can we get down to the budget and say what we actually have, because it's a terrible thing when we're talking about the whole help situation, is if the bottom 10% is continuing to expand and it's mostly illegal aliens, then when the true bottom of American citizens is at the 11th percent, guess who's not getting the help? That 11th percent. And then the bottom 10% is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we're having the symptoms of broken healthcare. We're having symptoms of not enough benefits going to needy families. We're having all these other benefits. So if you are standing up for illegal aliens, then I condemn you too. You're going to go out the door one way or the other. Either you're going to be deported along with the illegal aliens, or I, as Elohim, I am releasing spirits by the million. So spirits are different than angels. Angels are a spirit, but angels are individual created beings that are ancient, very, very old, but they have personalities, they have preferences, they have actual jobs. Spirits, on the other hand, I am the Lord of Spirits. I have millions of spirits that are not only going to be monitoring situations, people, places, and things ongoingly, but whenever there is a foul up, like a church intrusion that we've had, I'm going to ensure these spirits not only take possession of the guilty party, but as I said, I will be pushing the swine over the cliff. Paradoxically, truthfully. So again, states that are already abiding by the commandments, we welcome ICE, we welcome FWA officers. That's fraud, waste, and abuse officers, because there's nothing to hide from the law. Unlike blue states, you have everything to hide. Again, you don't even want voter ID, because most of the base in which you rely on to even get your sorry asses voted in requires illegal aliens. I'm really, really, really frustrated with this. So, all right. Next up is, here's another side note. The wife and I recently bought a couch, finally. Put the old one out next to the road, because, it was still good. I thought that somebody would be in need of it, but apparently not. So now I got to get a trash company or something to come pick it up. But the point is, me and the wife, we bought a new couch. We've had the old one for about 8 years. Between 2 dogs, 3 kids, it has had its better days. So we bought this Ashley furniture sectional. It was beautiful, but it was in our price range. It matched. Asherah did the living room in like a grayish blue, so it matched that anyway. So it was a firm decision. But my question is, right, and this is where the people should be demanding better in our products. Like, we have smart people, right, that you're making 6 figures, you're designing furniture, and you've done this apparently for like 100 years, as you say, Ashley Furniture. But then why are there no straps or Velcro to hold the cushions down? Because, guys, have you any kids? Has your research and development or product design department ever thought through this? Because, guys, after watching Finding Nemo, I am then finding cushions on the ground. A $3,000 couch, and I don't want my butt slipping between the couch watching a movie. And kids in general, they're kind of antsy, right? They want to lay this way, then they want to lay on mom's lap, and they, just through natural movement, the cushions are constantly sliding on the floor. So it's more than irritating. It just makes me wonder, like, for that much money, you would think that there's like at least a strap that goes to the hard part of the couch, the actual framework, and then the cushion, so you can just remove the strap, right, take the cushion off, wash it if you need to, but then you put it back on. You should be able to just cinch it down, bam, strap the cushion in. There, it's not going to move. Like, why is that not a thing? Or even have like the bottom of the cushion Velcro, right? And then the sectional is 3 pieces. So you have the large back wall, and then you have like the left side and the right side. They're both chases. Now, one chase has a solid cushion, which is nice because then your butt doesn't fall between the cushion. But then on the other side, it's a 2 cushion. It's like a 2 cushion, like a 2-party solution, a 2-party thing on the cushion side. So the exact way you would lay in the chase on the one side, your butt is pivoted right between it. It's unavoidable. So that what happens is then like the sectional is separating. So as you're sitting there, you just slowly, the thing starts pushing out, and then you got to get up mid-movie, slide it back, fix the rug, push the cushions in super tight, really flip that bad boy up, and then kind of like lay on it. Like, you get what I mean? Where are your heads at in your design? Why are you not making like smart decisions when you're building furniture at such a extremely low cost? It should not have added any cost. It should have been super easy to do, but you're solving a huge problem for people. 1, you're not listening to people. 2, you're just perpetuating the exact same designs you have been for the last 20 years because your company is getting lazy and they're relying on your name. Well, frankly, just because you share a wonderful name with my goddess does not mean that you are representative in any way for her preferences or mine. And you should keep the sectionals together by having a slot on one end and then a, guess what, Democrats, a male and a female end. Why would that not, right? That would be a perfect solution for making sure the sectional stays together. So cushions that get strapped to the couch and the couches that actually have a connector, right? So jokingly, not jokingly, it was probably made by Democrats who don't agree with genders, so they opted out of having the latch system. Because when you want to have, I don't know, guess no gender, right? Then we don't need the latch. You see how that works? So, same thing on that, right? Why 2 females that are female can't produce babies, right? Because they're 2 females. Same thing as 2 males cannot produce children. It only works when you have the male and the female. There's only 2. Just like a battery, right? You have a positive and a negative. A plus and a minus. There's only 2. Go and try and tell scientific batteries that they should have a 3rd polarity. That's how dumb Democrats and liberals are. Truly. Moving on. So Greenland is going to be Trump's baby to birth, and however he decides to do that is up to him. I've laid out what I said, and I mean, to what I can see, not in the spirit, but just in the carnality. I mean, President Trump is putting the pressure on, on NATO, because it makes no sense, right? NATO essentially is kind of talking out of their butt. They say they want a strong alliance, they want all these great things from America, but yet when I, as the God of America and the creator of the world, am put in place like facts, it's being argued and combated with by irrational politics. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's gonna, like, we need to protect Greenland one way or the other. If America is not going to essentially own Greenland and then front the bill for NATO entirely, which is the best option, because Denmark gets a check, Greenlanders stay Greenlanders, we get to recoup the value of putting a military installation plus the Iron Dome and the defense of NATO in general on Greenland. You see what I mean? Like, instead of taking the best deal Denmark and Greenland could really have, you're opting in. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's just one of those things that, it's, again, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I mean, if you want to fight the whole Greenland thing, then fight it. Then we won't do anything with Greenland. And, frankly, that just goes to show how weak the NATO pact really is. Because I can guarantee you that if at any time Russia or China or even if Iran was to grow a tooth and try to go after European nations, I can guarantee you, then you would be pandering to the U.S. And then it would be too late. Do you see what I mean? We're trying to cut the fat and get right to solutions that are going to be beneficial for everybody. And just because you don't even have any footing. So, be that as it may. Iran, there is only one path forward, and that is to liberate Iranians from pure evil. There is no other excuses for jihad. Jihad is evil. Evil is jihad. When you're talking about murder, ideology, just in general. Like, jihad in the same exact sentence is literally definition of evil. And where does that grow from? That grows from the mindsets of Ali Khamenei and those like him. So again, there is no place in the free and modern world for those that even empathize with terrorists, murderers, period. Ethnic cleansing, that's what I mean. Like, people are trying to charge Israel with ethnic cleansing. Guys, the literal jihadists have made open declarations for 50 plus years that they are, in their only job on earth is to ethnically cleanse it of my Jews and my Christians. That is demonic. That is a demon religion. I, as the creator of all, will submit those very demons to go after each other. And I'll just create internal divisions, so they're just cutting each other's heads off. So sweareth I, saith the Lord God Almighty, Yahweh Elohim. Look for it. Count as a witness. We'll turn them against each other. Because those who are sinning by the sword are going to die by the sword. That's how that's going to go. Okay. And truly, the battle of true good versus real evil, it is here. It is happening on the political stage. You're seeing it happen on the international stage. And again, it starts at the lowest. It starts it starts at schools, but permeates all through culture, all through every aspect of human existence. Evil has not only permeated, it's fermented, and now it's growing to the evil side. It's growing healthy crops. They don't know their God. They don't know righteousness, and they're like in a feeding frenzy, trying to propagate more and more wicked and evilness upon mankind, either for gain of influence, a gain of political influence, or money. Usually are the roots. So I'm calling my righteous to stay righteous, and those that are not, and you refusing, I'm going to cut you down, and I'm going to cut you down where it's going to hurt the most. And it is going to make change, massive change, vast change, because it will not stand. There is only one side that gets the victory, and that is the side of Almighty God, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, who is I incarnate. I'm the winner. Now I'm just trying to clean up the wreckage of those who are not going to hop on board and get on the side of righteousness. So it's a very simple plan. It's not a lot of thought involved. Okay, so truly, teaching kids is where we need to start growing righteous behaviors, because good people fruit good people. The days of this, like, teachers are just friends and we give all of our students a baseline level C because you're trying to artificially inflate your graduation numbers. Shame on you, schools all around the country, all around the nation. If you are advancing students because you want good graduation rates, you should not be in your position. I say you should be released from your duties as a teacher or a principal or whatever, because these children are coming out of the system. The last 4 generations, they're coming out dumber, meaner, disrespecting authority figures on a daily, and they're getting away with it. And we have not only watered down ethics, we're watered down moral. We have dumb people. Now these same people that have just been passed through 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, like they just floated all through high school. They were not taught righteousness. Instead, they were egged on and encouraged by young teachers or idiot teachers. You're just spawning the next demonic generation to come that I, as God, have to deal with. You know, it's insane. Since when did teachers become your best friend? Teachers need to be authoritative figures that are instructing children to become better every single day. They are to be teaching knowledge, history, mathematics, language arts, handwriting, cursive. They should be teaching geography. I mean, there is so many different subject matters that have not one spot that says we need to befriend our students and we're a friend first. Guys, you're a friend when your student comes to you and says, hey, I'm having a hard time at home. That is when the authoritative figure, right, should know how to adultly handle that and give sound adult advice. Instead, we're having, like, again, I've seen it firsthand with my own child, not my son. His school, fortunately, is pretty righteous. I'm very satisfied. But my daughter's high school has done this. She comes home and is like, yeah, pretty much ace a test. And she's like, oh, it wasn't hard. I mean, we just pretty much all got a C for putting our name on the paper. Shame on that teacher. I denounce you as a teacher. You're not an educator. You are Guys, educators should be, again, respected by your peer. Your students should be respectful of the authority figure, but likewise, the authority figure should be an authority figure. They should be able to manage their classroom and truly teach children, and if the children are acting up, then they need to have consequences. This world has went so long without consequences to the very children that one day grow up as adults to become either rioters or churchgoers. Dumb people are the rioters because they don't understand that what the very thing in which they're doing is wicked. They're going against the law. They're going against righteousness. They don't even realize that what they do is evil. Their heart is sour. It is black. Their soul is not saved. They go to hell. Those people in school were not educated properly. Or they were treated uberly sensitive. Like, you don't need to do that, right? Trying to convince kids to change gender. That's what I mean. What the fuck are we working on in school? Should be working on arithmetic, language arts, not language arts, but history, reading, writing, geography, science, chemistry, technology. Like, those are things that teachers should be teaching the student body. And high school teachers should be at least 10 years senior away from age and their students. You have to remove those temptations. How is a 24-year-old coming out of college and then they are teaching 12th grade at 17 and 18-year-olds? Like, that's within a temptation range. You need to remove the temptation. What happened to these? Like, I had an old 4th grade teacher. Her name was Miss Simmons. That woman was like a rock. And even though in 4th grade, I didn't necessarily like her very much because I felt that she was kind of mean to me just because I was poor, and that may have been the case. Regardless, I appreciate her sternness about being to class on time. I appreciate just different aspects of that 4th grade that even as an adult, God, putting God aside here, just as a God growing up in the world of today, I'm saying, I appreciate those teachers because those teachers taught me something. They taught me something before I needed to teach myself. My point is, we need to get back to that stuff. We need to get back to school being an institution of rules, of law, and order. And these children, like, they used to be truancy officers, right? If a child missed too many days of school and didn't have a parent calling in for a legitimate excuse, truancy officers were knocking on the door. Parents were getting fined. Your kid needs to be in school. A. B, when they're in school, they need to know that these are authority figures that they should be respecting. Counter to that, though, the figures need to be respectable. Teachers are not there to be your buddy. I mean, they are in some aspects. Like, you want to have a confidence built up, but the students need to respect the teacher. And the teacher needs to respect the learning side of what their job is, right? You need to be educating people, not befriending them. All right, let me see if she's off a meeting, and then I will continue. Okay, so we're going to round it out here and kind of still flowing with the whole, teachers and kids situation, because the children are hugely important, not only to me, Elohim, because they're children, but those are like seeds. So educators should be guides of goodness, not they're just friendly, but then they're leading astray, or they're hampering bringing out the best. So we should be pushing our children to not only be the best exemplary citizens. That it requires an understanding of the rules of the school to start. And I don't mean indoctrination. You're never going to get a problem of indoctrination when you're just obedient to righteousness. Do not tell any lies. Do not slander other people, right? You do not cause physical harm to others. You do not steal. You respect authority, and that authority, but that's what I mean, that authority first needs to be respectable, right? If you have teachers that are no better than students, then you basically have kids teaching kids. And I see it all the time, mainly in high school. It's very disheartening as a father and the father of all, but it's disheartening to see that there are teachers that are virtually within striking range of my own daughter's age. By being too close in age, it's a problem, because you have a problem with commanding respect because you don't have enough life experience to truly be able to offer those children that are still children, 18 or not, right? Young teachers in high school, you don't have the opportunity of experience to give any wisdom to those kids. So then you're really shortening, you're shorting them, really, because they need even stronger guides. There's several teachers at my son's school that I respect wholeheartedly. I respect them for the fact that they are good educators. They genuinely care about the children's well-being and making it. But again, these educators, right, they're one out of 10 most of the time. And the other 9 are very aloofy. Not so much in my son's school, but in the general term of America. And so what happens, right, is these kids are just being passed from one grade to the next, and by the time they get done with it, they don't really know much. They don't respect authority. Like, they're worthless. And so then it's up to the world to then teach them, but then if the world we have is as ugly and sinful and immoral and unethical as it is now, then do you have any question of why the world is the way it is? I'm giving you literally the answers to every single problem. Now at this point, it just needs cooperation. Good people need to take back the reins and get this stuff under control and start marching in a righteous direction. We should be seeing this cleanup on television, on music, in schools, in politics, in places of governance, in places of every aspect of life. It needs to be cleaned up. Like, that's a fact. There is no place for sin. There is no place for debauchery. There's no place for perversion. There's no place for perversion. There is no place for any of these things. And the media has been poisoning children since media existed. If you look at the turn of the century when radio just started coming online, most, if not all, the programs then were very righteous. It was about the good guys going after the bad guys. It was reinforcing, this is what bad guys do. This is what good guys do. This is why we like good things, why we don't like bad things. It was constantly reaffirming Christian beliefs, even Jewish beliefs, right? Because if you look at fact, and this is my last point, I'm so glad I didn't forget it. Labels. If one of my big takeaways today for anybody is going to be labels. The world, it seems like, if you want to kind of get in my head for a minute, imagine in the last 125 years, someone gave the devil a false label maker, and he has went to town, and he has focused intently on labeling things wrongly. Hell, you guys have labeled me wrong. Like, you get what I mean? You've put a wrong name on me, and I'm having to defend against my own name. Like, how insane is that, right? It's because those that are truly advert to righteousness or goodness are usually incarnated demons. If they're not, then they've been led and taught by one, and in which case the outcome is the same. So the devil went around and pretty much mislabeled all these things. What religious is, painted that in a bad light. Who I am paints me in a bad light. Paints why lesbianism is a good thing, faggotry is a good thing, why lust is good, why greed is good. Like, essentially all these things have been mislabeled, and unfortunately stupid humans rely on labels to be able to navigate right and wrong. That's a fundamental problem. You should know right and wrong at the soul molecular level, because if you don't, then you have a bigger issue. That means that you are not created by heaven. You have no connection to me, so you're either a wild heathen human who you still need salvation, you still need me, and you're going to rely on leaders of my churches to help teach you righteousness. But those, the leaders of these things, right, you should be morally righteous naturally. And thus you are the ones that should be teaching this to the world too. So, as the head of the family, I am directing these movements and actions, and in the human scape, you as the bees start making the honey. You guys start getting to work on this. If anything I've said falls into your purview or falls kind of in your department, then take that upon your mantle. That's where being a service to the Lord, where all these things come in, that's being a service to me. That's being a service to the kingdom of heaven. That is saying, money may be somewhat important in this life, but you know what the currency of the next life is? It's righteousness, it's goodness. How many people you turned away from sin and turned them into goodness and righteousness, but truly. Not saying, well, I took this crazy sinful person and only got him halfway there because then I got lazy. Or the person's character that tried to teach. That's what I mean. There's different levels to this. So if you're leading a church, if you're leading a congregation, you need to be the most righteous. And then that needs to be permeating downward, right? Being an authoritative figure. You were to represent what I want out of my human beings. This is how this works. So pastors, preachers, rabbis, right? You need to be dressing up to church, encouraging your patrons to bring their Bible, starting programs with your congregations that you can effectively cover my name. You can effectively cover the commandments. You can effectively cover what happens to those that are righteous versus those that are unrighteous. What is sin versus non-sin? You guys should be going over this every week. And then you continue. Like, that's what I mean. You are training righteousness. You are instilling goodness. And then hopefully those adults are going back to their job doing the same thing. Demanding that we don't want to see commercials about alcohol abuse. I don't care how funny it is. I don't want to watch a show that has a husband and wife malalignment and they're not one. They're not together. Because what you're doing is you're teaching the youth of America what the expectation is. So if the youth bases their essentially everything around their media, which they do, they're building profiles in their mind. They're building their future archetypes of it's okay to have sex before marriage. It's okay to be involved in alcohol in the office. It's okay to drive recklessly. It's okay for us to disrespect authority figures. Like, you know what I mean? You're instilling wicked and evilness into the population, and yet everyone is then boo-hooing that the world is a burning dumpster fire. It's got to get cleaned up. It's got to get cleaned up. So see through the false labels. See through the false labels. That's what I've been trying to get at for so long, guys, is you need to see through the false labels. Like if just because something says something that's good, like, you need to go and investigate, why is it good? What's good about it? What did I as God put it down, and why is it good? Why would it be good in heaven? Why? If you are not allowed in heaven, if you're a rule breaker, if you're a commandment breaker and you're not allowed in heaven, that's a fact. Why would then I okay people to break the law on earth. I wouldn't. Do you see how if you can maturely and thoughtfully break things down truthfully, that's what I mean. Truth cuts through all bullshit. And at the end of the day, my churches are getting hung up because they don't want to commit to righteousness. Because if you commit to righteousness, you're committing to truth. When you are committing to truth, you're committing to my true name. I will never fall under the guise of falsities. Truly. That's fact. So, all right. It's 12:15. I'm getting hungry. I'm going to make my lunch and then get on with the rest of my day. And what is for lunch? It is going to be a turkey spinach wrap and some... I tried the avocado chips from Sam's Club. So we'll see how the combo goes. Have a good day, and we will see you here bright and early tomorrow.